So last session, we have come up with introduction to Oracle. Last class. This was the introduction part we have covered. Now, so last session what we studied was, it's a product of Oracle Corporation, introduced in 1977 as Oracle 1.0. But it has become popular. Yeah, Sarthak. Yeah.
Hello, sir. This is Ratan.
Yes, Sarthak.
Sir, I was browsing yesterday and I saw one thing that written on the website. The Oracle is widely used for online transaction processing and data warehousing and enterprise grid computing. What is that data warehousing and grid computing?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Actually, we have not come up to that point still. We will be discussing about all that stuff in my coming sessions. Okay. In my introduction class, hope you remember, I'll just show you the picture. First session, introduction class, when we, in that I mentioned here, you can see that databases are of two types: OLTP, OLAP. OLTP is online transaction processing. OLAP is online analytical processing. Now Oracle is both OLTP plus OLAP, but for that is OLAP is nothing but data warehousing asset. But our course content is all about OLTP. Okay, online transaction processing. On the day, even I have highlighted on the day that there are some major differences we noticed between OLTP and OLAP, but I didn't discuss even single point of it, because that is all needed when you go with data warehousing. Otherwise, no, we don't need that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right.
So I have another doubt, sir. Yeah. Sir, if we go to a website, for example, TCS official website, to fill our personal details, and I saw that mistakenly that page got closed. If again we go to that page and fill the details, we get some prediction about our data. I want to know that, sir, what is that prediction, and is that data stored in the database used in that website?
Okay, Sarthak, we'll definitely discuss that. Since you are going with introduction classes, definitely I'll get back to you on this point. Just wait for 2 more days. We have one topic to discuss about client server technology. In that client server technology, I'll be talking about front end and back end concept. And in that, your doubt will be clarified. Okay, just wait for 1 or 2 sessions. We'll come to that topic. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and in that only, I'll be even discussing about your other point. You asked me now, what is grid computing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So there I'll explain you what is grid computing and what is cloud computing. Both I'll cover there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All three
Yes,
will
sir.
be discussed in that. Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Okay. So today we are going to learn. First, we'll make a list here about all the versions of Oracle, and then we'll proceed with the next topic. First, 1977, Oracle 1.0 was introduced. But I said no, when it was introduced, it has not become that popular. People didn't feel much importance of Oracle in 1977. Then immediately Oracle Corporation started working on that version. They make some changes in the what do you call software, and then in 1979, 1979, they have come up with Oracle 2.0 was released. And this is the version that was called first SQL database. Now, after that, 1983, they have come up with Oracle 3.0. 1984, they have come up with Oracle 4.0. Then 1985, Oracle 5.0. 83 3.0, 84 4.0, 85 5.0. After that, 1988, they have come up with Oracle 6.0. 1992, they have come up with Oracle 7.0. Then 1997, they have come up with Oracle 8.0. Then there was a actually all softwares are SQL database only. All Sri Durga. Question to your question I'm answering. All database softwares are SQL databases only, but the word I used is first SQL database, means this is the first software in which SQL language was used for communicating with the database. Okay, otherwise all RDBMS. Hope you remember on the other day I said SQL Server, product of Microsoft, MySQL, Teradata, Sybase, Oracle, they all are going to work on SQL only. But among all these, the first database software that was that first the SQL language first used were in your Oracle software. Okay. Then there was drastic change from 1999, where Oracle Corporation has introduced internet related concepts in Oracle 8i. It's related with internet related features. Then in 2000, they have come up with the Oracle 9i, and it is release 1. Then in 2001, they have come up with Oracle 9i release 2. Release 2. And after that, 2001. Now, then in 2003, again Oracle Corporation has introduced something related with grid computing. 10G was released. That was release 1. Then 2005, Oracle 10G release 2 was introduced. Then 2007, Oracle 11G release 1 was introduced. 2009, they have come up with Oracle 11G release 2 was introduced. Then remember, in 2013, there was again a drastic change in Oracle software, where they have introduced cloud computing in database. 2016, they have come up with the Oracle 12C release 2 was introduced. Then 2018, they have come up with the Oracle 18C. 2019, they have come up with Oracle 19C. These are your different versions. And now we definitely need to know what was older technology of working with Oracle After that, what changes they made because of internet related features, and then we need to know what happened in grid computing, and then we will know what happened in cloud computing. So probably in my coming classes, I'll get back to you on all those things. So just for your reference, I'll highlight them. I is internet related features added. G refers to grid computing technology. Then C is all about cloud computing technology. Three things: internet related features, grid computing technology, and cloud computing technology. Plus, one more interesting thing of all these versions is, yeah, it's not actually any specific version. Still, I mean, as far as my experience is concerned, I found still companies working with 10G, and few companies have migrated to 11G. Still, no one has come to a point. I mean, majority of the companies have still not come to a usage of your 12C, 18C, 19C. Still, they are going with 10G and 11G. Yeah, even in very recently, I have actually I'm going on with, still the training is going on, even for a government sector. Then I'm taking up some corporate training to one of the government departments for Oracle. Still, they are also working. I mean, they are also using 11G in their department. 11G. So that version doesn't matter. Whatever we are being trained, the only thing is that regarding internet features, grid computing, cloud computing, these all things to be known for database administrator. As a Oracle developer, you don't need to know all that stuff, but still fundamental and basic things I'll be covering so that you can get a clear idea on that stuff. But otherwise, no, we don't need. Actually, this only versions I introduced. If you start discussing about the version of Oracle, these two things are always considered as different. Oracle release, Oracle version, two different things. Probably next class I'll explain you that part as well. Actually, this version is not, we end with 3.0. You have a big number actually. So I didn't talk about that number. Next class I'll explain you what is release and what is version. Okay. Now, coming to here, especially connecting with Oracle, if you look into this all, Oracle 1.0 to 7.0, they all are pure RDBMS from 1.0 to 7.0. They all come under category of what? Pure RDBMS. Whereas Oracle 8.0 to 19C, they all come under category of pure ORDBMS. ORDBMS. What is ORDBMS? Yesterday I said. ORDBMS is combination of RDBMS plus object-oriented features. Object-oriented features. Yes, these are the things that you need to know. Note. Okay, these are all the versions. Okay, now next part we will study, that is about topics that are introduced in Oracle. Topics that are introduced in what? Oracle. That part we'll discuss. Okay, so what is it we have and how we are going to make use of it? All those things will be discussing. As I already said, no, like uh, uh, about release, about version, these all things. I'll get back to you. It's not yet over. We are going to study about them as well. Okay. So first we will make a list here of topics that are introduced in Oracle. Okay. So let's go with the next file. Save this. Topics ORCL. Topics in Oracle. Now, first comes Oracle has been made available. Remember this, please. Oracle has been made available with three concepts in it. Three concepts or three topics, you can say. So let me list out. This is one topic. I'll write what is it now. And this is second topic. This is your second topic. And this is third topic. Three topics. First, let me list out the names of those topics. One is called SQL. Second is called PL/SQL. Third is called D2K. Three. SQL. Okay, one topic it is. Second is PL/SQL. PL/SQL. Third is D2K. Now, among these three topics, first you can say these two topics, these two, SQL, PL/SQL. These two topics are treated or considered as backend. These two topics I'm talking. SQL and PL/SQL together. What do you call them? What is that you call, as I said, backend? Together I'm saying this, SQL and PL/SQL together. It's called backend. Whereas this topic is then D2K, which is called front end of Oracle. What is it? Front end of Oracle. And this D2K is actually, that stands for D developer 2000, 2K. Developer 2000. But it is not that flexible. This front end is not that flexible. What we notice in programming languages, Java I can use as front end. Whatever the facilities Java provides in front end, those many facilities you are not found in D2K. And whatever the facilities Microsoft .NET provides as front end, those many developer 2000 will not provide. But still, some companies are there which uses D2K as their front end. Some very few. Okay, this is one part. So, however, this is not our course content also. It's only for your knowledge. I have just come up with 3 topics. And another interesting thing, when you install Oracle software, you are provided only with SQL and PL SQL. D2K will not be available. D2K requires a separate installation process. It is not like if you install an Oracle that you'll be getting all 3 modules. No, if you install Oracle software, any version, if you install, you are provided to work only with what? SQL and PL SQL. Exactly, Shika Singh. Exactly. Yes. So let me just list out all the topics of D2K. What are available in it? Now D2K has these all concepts available in it. Topics I'm talking about. Forms, reports, graphs. 3. Reporting is also a part of it. Forms are also part of it. And then graphs are also part of it. Forms for what? For data entry purpose. We can use reporting, presentation of data in a better look and feel manner. Graphs for analysis. Not that highly graphs. It's basic graphs you can find with D2K. 3 things. Then coming to another important thing, this SQL is consisting of 2 things to study in it. 2 things. SQL consists of what I'm saying? 2 things it contains. 2 things. So what are those 2 things? Let me write here. This is one category, and this is second category. Now, what are those 2? One is called 6 sub languages. What are them? We'll discuss, don't worry. And second, we have extension SQL plus. 2 categories we have in SQL. We have one category that which is classified as that we are going to learn about 6 sub languages, and second we have something to discuss about SQL plus. SQL plus 2 things. Now coming to PL SQL, which is called PL as procedural, and SQL is same, structured query language. PL SQL. PL SQL, procedural structured query language. Yes. Now, what PL SQL contains? Here comes an answer. PL SQL is always combination of 2 things. SQL plus procedural features. SQL plus what? Procedural features. SQL plus procedural features. What it deals with? Yes, this deals with coding, you call programming. But I already said you, it's not that typical as what we find in your other programming languages. Simple programming language compared to your simple programming we find in PL SQL, comparing with what? Programming languages. We don't find the typical things available in PL SQL for code programming. Now, again, this coding or programming, whichever we have for Oracle, we are found with the implementation in two ways. Two types of coding process we have, two types of programming process we have, two types. What are they? This is one type and this is second type. One is called anonymous block programming, which is also called unnamed block programming. Another part is there, stored block programming, or you call as named block program. Anonymous block programming, unnamed block programming, anonymous block programming or unnamed block programming. Second part, stored block programming or what is it called? Named block programming. Unnamed name. And one more thing, where do they store? Simple conclusion. Anonymous block programming is stored in buffer, and stored block programming where the programs are stored in database. So one is in buffer, the other one is in database. So this is a part of buffer, stored in buffer, and this is part of database. Now coming to the next part, under anonymous block programming, we are going to discuss some special topics. Special topics. What are they? One, basic programming. Second, embedded SQL, exception handling, dynamic SQL, cursors. Five topics we have. Normal SQL, embedded SQL, dynamic SQL. All three I'm going to cover. All three. SQL will be quite very lengthy to study. Once you know SQL, embedded SQL, dynamic SQL, just like that we can understand. We don't find that complex things in it to deal with. Only ways you just need to know how to write them with the support of coding part. Now, second is I'm talking about stored block programming. Now, under stored block programming, we are going to discuss four topics in it: stored procedures, stored functions, stored packages, stored triggers. Yes, these are the things or these are the topics that are available in Oracle. And our course content is all about these two, SQL and PL SQL. Yeah, buffer is like temporary. Program is stored in memory for temporary memory. Buffer means. So when we go now programming part, at that time I'll explain what is buffer, where the program is stored, how do you, make that program interaction, till what time that program will be available in the temporary memory. All those things we'll discuss. So obviously anonymous block programs have limitations, drawbacks. Best way to manage is always to go with what? Stored block program. That's it. Now, keeping all these things in view, next class I'll discuss that part. Okay, editions I'll discuss. Editions of Oracle. That part I'll discuss next class, I'm saying. Editions. I'll just make a list. You don't need to know all about detailed things about those editions. I'll just come up with the list there. I already said, so there are many things even under fundamentals. As a developer, Oracle developer, you need not know all those things. You don't need to know all those things. That will be mandatory for database administrator. For DBA, he should know all the facilities which are provided by different editions. Right? And even after that, I said, I'll explain you about what is called version and what is called release. Okay? Slowly we'll move to the subject. Right? Week and next week we may not have sessions on Saturday. From then we'll have sessions including Saturday. Only this week I'm saying, plus next week. Next week also Saturday you may not have session, but from then we'll have the sessions for what? Including Saturdays, right? Everyone was comfortable? Like any questions you want to ask here, like you can unmute your mic or you can use your chat panel and can forward your query. Shikha Singh, was it clear for you? Shikha, can you hear me? Yogeshwar, Sarthak, Sandeep, Nidhi,
Yes,
any questions you have?
sir. I have a question.
Yes,
Yes,
Sandeep.
sir. So regarding this Oracle process, we are studying about SQL and PLSQL.
Exactly.
Yeah, why that D2K process is not involved in our subject?
Thing is, I already said now, G2K is an old
Yeah.
now. It has become an old technology compared to our current programming languages. We don't find that good features available in D2K as what we find in today's powerful front-end application. So, and
Okay.
another issue that you can say is D2K installation process goes lengthy. Even coding point of view is lengthy, creates lot of confusion in it. Though it makes user-friendly environment, for end user it will be helpful, but the people who develop the application, for them it becomes very complex because environment is not that good available to design things. So slowly, they have replaced. Even D2K has come to some advanced level, but still, even then, it's not that strong as what we find in programming languages. So what people do, SQL, PLSQL, they make as backend for Oracle, and Java they make as frontend, or they make .NET as frontend, or they make Python as frontend.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, understood, sir.
Right. Okay. So